The final regular season game is here. The city of Pittsburgh will be the place. It's the Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins coming up tonight just after 7 o'clock. Scenes seen around town here in the Burgh and in the press box and getting ready for this one tonight. John Walton here, Tarik El-Bashir there, and welcome to this edition of Rink Report, brought to you by PenFed Credit Union. Great rates for everyone. T, I'm loving the new room here. I love we get the home tour. This is nice, like this. I think this is a great thing to celebrate because where the Capitals are going, we now know after last night, and it will be the Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens in round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And not just because it is a fantastic city to visit this time of year, it also feels like a pretty good matchup for the Capitals, a team that might be in the same shoes the Caps were a year ago. Young team, had to fight and claw to get in here. There's no easy games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I feel like Montreal is as good a matchup as the Caps we're going to get.
Yeah, John, I agree with you to a certain extent. I really agree with what you said about anytime you face anyone in the playoffs, you're facing a good team, and you better have your antennas up and you better be ready to play, or it can be a very humbling experience. The things that worry me a little bit about Montreal, number one, they're hot, right? They're 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. That's tied with LA for the most standings points during that span. And they've got a lot of young, fast talent. They can score a lot of goals. A lot of those guys have been on fire. You see Nick Suzuki right there. I mean, he's been one of the best players in the league all season long. Cole Caulfield can get you. He's not very big, but man, he packs a lot in that 5'8" frame. So and from a mental standpoint, the Capitals have had this great season, winning the conference, and there's a lot of expectations on them. The Habs, they don't have any expectations. They're probably too young and naive to even know what expectations are at this point. They're just happy to be there, and so those things worry me. That said, on paper, the Capitals are the better team, top to bottom, almost at every position. So we'll see how it goes.
This is the second of a two-game road trip. The Capitals defeating the Islanders, a little bit of revenge from April 6th. And it was the Dylan Strome show, Tarik, as he comes up with his first hat
Man.
trick in a Capitals uniform, third of his career. What a night he had. That was certainly a big-time effort for number 17 as he rounds his game into form, getting ready for the playoffs.
I thought he's been one of the Capitals' best and most consistent players, not only all year, but even during this kind of rough patch over the last dozen games or so. He's been producing while maybe some other guys have cooled off a bit. So it was nice to see him finish a career year with a great game, right? He's got one more game tonight, but putting a hat trick, your first hat trick as with the Capitals, your third of your career, on top of a career high in goals, a career high in points, a career high in face-off win percentage. Dylan Strome is really just coming to his own, and there are guys. And I like everyone in the Caps room, but there are guys you kind of cheer for because they just kind of have a good aura about them. Dylan's one of those guys, so it's really cool to see him not only being a good guy and a stand-up citizen, but also having a great year.
Last year in Chicago, he had 45 points. He has gotten better every single year he's been in Washington, getting to the 80-point plateau for the first time this season. Arcady Florio, a short time ago here in the Burgh, caught up with number 17, Dylan Strome.
Well, Dylan, of course, we have to start with the hat trick on Tuesday. I know it was the first one as a Capital for you, and obviously came on a big day with everything you talked about with your dog and all of that after. So take us through the emotions of that night.
Yeah, it was cool. A few lucky bounces. Obviously, one goes off their defense and in. O makes a great play in the second one, and third one. Haven't been out for too many of those empty net situations, but nice to be called on in that moment and have a chance to do it. And a great play by Dowder and obviously Willie. So, so it was it was nice to get that. I thought it was a good win for us and kind of one that we needed in a sense. So we'll take it and move on to tonight.
Well, with that game, you've reached the 80-point mark for the first time in your career, but so many guys in this locker room having career years themselves. What do you all credit that success to this season as a team?
I think just a lot of team chemistry, a lot of good vibes. we started the year when we talked about how we needed to score more goals. Obviously, in last year was not good enough, and that was a huge emphasis. And when you score, second most goals in the league, second or third most goals in the league, a lot of guys are going to have career highs, and I think we've done that. We've had that. Lots of guys having career years, and lots of guys have been rewarded with new contracts, and obviously, like I said, career highs, but playing time and things like that. So. It's been a great regular season. Obviously, one more tonight, and then the real fun starts.
Look at you pulling stats out in the middle of an interview. Of course, we know you are the stats guy on this team. And with that, I, of course, have to ask about assisting on 895 and knowing that your name will forever be etched next to his on that goal. How's that feel?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. When you get to play with a player like him, you're obviously going to be in the history books forever just because you get to play with him and got some assists on his goals. And then, to kind of have it, get an assist on that goal was definitely something that I know we've all talked about, everyone's talked about, and it just so happened that, Willie makes a great play over to O on the power play, and I just so happened to pass it to Willie. So, it's a cool thing. Just honored to be on his team, be on his line a lot of the games. Get to play with him, get to learn from him, get to see how he lives on a day to day. He's an impressive human being and a lot of fun to be around. So he deserves every accolade he's gotten, and it's just nice to be along for the ride.
Well, big news coming yesterday with Nic Dowd's contract. Obviously saw the celebration in the locker room, a team that is very happy. He's sticking around. What has he meant as a leader both on and off the ice for the Capitals?
Yeah, he's just a great human being all around. He's a great family man. The way he acts, with his kids and his wife, and I think he's the ultimate teammate. I think he's a fantastic guy. He's funny. He's fun to be around. He's serious when it comes down to it, but he likes to have fun also too. I think it's a guy that you want to have on your team, and you can see why he's had so much success in the NHL, and especially with the Caps. He does a role. He works his tail off every night, and he's a great guy to have on your team. Couldn't be happier for Dowder to be here for a couple more years.
Well, game 82 tonight, but it took up until last night to finally know that Montreal is officially your first round opponent. What is the mindset getting through this game and taking on the Habs?
Yeah, I mean, they had a few chances to clinch, and it kind of came down to the last couple games. But they're a really skilled team. They, we've had some great games against them this year. Obviously, it's a fun rink to play in. I know the atmosphere is going to be crazy. I think we just gotta stick to our guns. I think we're a great hockey team, and I feel like we have the confidence to beat any team. And they're going to be a great challenge, and I think we'll be ready for it.
Should be fun, Dylan. Thank you as always.
Thank you.
Big night for Dylan Strome, and looking to be a point-a-game guy, playing at all 82. The Capitals going to have, we believe, 7 guys that are going to get into all 82 games. But T, for Dylan Strome, year after year after year, he has become such a big part of the top 6 around here and really coming into his own once coming to Washington.
My only complaint is he talks so darn fast, and it's really hard to transcribe when I have to put his quotes out onto Twitter or into one of my stories. But no, in all seriousness, the thing that I really like about Dylan Strome is the fact that he is, and you've already outlined this, he continually works hard to get better. He is not the type who signs a big contract and goes, I've made it. He goes home and he comes back a better hockey player every single year. And that's key. That's key for the guys who are your core players. And he is absolutely a core player on this Capitals team. Signed for, as long as almost anybody on this team. And so for him to show that type of leadership, to go home every summer, work on his skating, work on his shot, it not only does it pay off on the score sheet, it's motivation to everyone else on the team. If they see a big money guy, a headline or a star go home and work that hard every offseason, that rubs off on everyone else. No one else can go home and slack.
As he gets going tonight, another centerman had an awfully big off day here in Pittsburgh, Nic Dowd. And T, you might have talked about this a little bit over the course of the last few weeks, what that contract might look like. Is he going to get done? And it turns out, yes, 2 years, $6 million total, $3 million per season for number 26. And this strikes me, and love your take on this, as a very good deal for player and also a very good deal for team. And what I mean by that is, at the age that he's 34, to be able to, you don't want to go too many years. So I think for the club, That's probably what they were looking, but he is so valuable and arguably in the conversation for best fourth line center in the game. I don't know if he's number one, but he's certainly in that top echelon and a guy that you put out in so many different situations and you'd be able to lock him up. So he's happy, team's happy, love everything about the deal.
Yeah, the thing I really like about this deal for the player and for the team is, I'm sure Nick wanted 3 years. I mean, when you get to his age, you're trying to get as much term and security as you can. That said, his AAV this year was $1.3 million. It's jumping to $3 million. He has more than doubled his salary starting next year for a couple of years. Look, he's going to be 35 next month, so he's no spring chicken. That said, he's going to play in 81 games. I think he's going to play in all the games after tonight. That's a career high for him, career high in goals, career high in points, career high in games played. This is a player who has kind of low mileage for his age, and that's something as a GM you really, really like, is a player who's got a lot of experience but doesn't have super high mileage on him, right? So he plays a huge role in this team. I know we call him the fourth line center. By minutes and role, he really is a third line center. So good for him and good for the team. And he also does so much off the ice. With Dowd's crowd and all those other things that matters. That really does matter. And good on him. And my favorite thing was yesterday. I believe that was after practice. Did he chug a Coors Light, or was that before practice? That's impressive either way. To do some day
I
drinking
listen.
on
I'm
a day
here
when you got
for
to
it.
work.
I approve. Absolutely. A little bit of video from the room and a little bit of an ovation for him yesterday. Very, very good stuff there for Dowd.
He's
And
well
you're
liked.
right. Yeah. I mean, you good citizen. And Spencer Carberry talking yesterday about, you talk about the guys that feed Ovi the puck and they get the headlines like the Stromes and the Wilsons and Dubois potentially. But Dowd in eating all the minutes for the D-zone draws and being able to set the table for Ovechkin and his line to be able to be out there for the O-zone draws. Really good. You can see, I mean, you can just, as the applause here and the moment for the entire room to be able to celebrate a guy who, I asked this of the coach yesterday. He came in here on a one-year deal.
Wait.
And
Here we go, John.
nothing was ever given. Yeah, that's a silver bullet, my friend. Yes.
He just pulled
Yeah.
a beer out of his equipment bag in the room. That's another reason to love Dowd. That's amazing. Look at Ovi's face. I mean, look, a very popular player, Swiss Army knife, can do so many different things for you. And 14 goals. I mean, he scores too, given the amount of ice time and the role. His job is literally to shut down the other team's best player, and he scores 14 goals. Amazing. Well deserved.
Yeah, no doubt that it's for him to be able to get that deal is good. And we got Katie talking with him just a little while ago outside the room too.
Well, Nick, first and foremost, congratulations on the contract. What does it mean for you and your entire family to be able to stay in Washington a few more years?
Yeah, I mean, very fortunate. Like I said, I mean, I'll echo it again. It's been a privilege to be here for the time I have been here, to get to stay here and in this organization and be with some of the guys that I love to be around. It's a privilege. So, I told my son last night we get to stay here for another 2 years, and the first thing he asked me is, do we get to go home to Minnesota in the summer? So I think it hasn't sunk quite in yet. He's obviously meaning he loves heading back there and cousins and family and stuff. But yeah, overall, we could not be happier to be here and be part of this group. So.
Well, you just mentioned to the group that, you came in on a one-year deal and here you are almost 7 years later, and at that having a career year yourself as well. So what do you credit that longevity and that production to this late on?
Playing with good players and being surrounded by good people that want you to succeed. That goes from the staff, the coaches, but especially my teammates. Guys genuinely want each other to succeed, and they're happy for each other when you do succeed, and that just bleeds into individual success that we've had has bled into our team success and vice versa. And I've been really fortunate to play with a couple really, really good players this year. Not that I haven't in the past, which has helped me get to this point as well. But, I guess, more narrow scope of this year, as you asked that question. I've played with some really good players. Dewey's kind of been my guy for the whole year. And he's had a career year himself as well. Really, really a high-level player, does a lot of things on and off the ice that make him a special teammate. And the other guys that have mixed in with me, Ratty, Bo, Miro early in the year, a couple other guys, but they've, again, like, I'd like to think that hopefully I've helped them as much as they've helped me. So.
Well, talking to your teammates every day in the locker room, it's always your name that they bring up when they think of leaders on this team. Not only the production you have on the ice, but you just won a community award as well. Last week, we can hear right there that they are clearly very excited for you. But how special is that to know the impact you leave on the ice, off the ice, and with this entire organization as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's yeah, I mean, it makes you feel good, right? Like, I mean, I'll keep saying it. Like, we have such a good group of guys. So to know that you've earned their respect, it's an honor, it's a privilege to play with them, and I mean, it's just such a good group to be around at all times, and I think that's why we've had so much success this year. And we have a great leadership group. The guys that have been here longer than I have, and some new guys have stepped in and found really great roles, and the teams played well on the ice, but I mean, there's a tightness to this group too that goes a long way for on ice success. But yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, to be able to be here for as long as we have, for my family and I and my kids. I mean, my kid's going to go start kindergarten next year, which is crazy in itself. But to have that stability is hard to come by in the NHL, and to be able to do it with this organization, which in my opinion is one of the best in the NHL, is an honor. So.
Well, we've clearly seen that team tightness both on and off the ice, but the season that you guys have had, we've made it to game 82, and getting into the playoffs this year sure looked a lot different than it did last year. But as we approach the final one, Pittsburgh tomorrow night, and you reflect on the season as a whole this year, what comes to mind?
Well, I would say this is like in order for our team to be successful this year, which we have been, we've needed every single person that suits up and plays that game, and it couldn't be more true even with Columbus last night. Stromer steps up and has a big hat trick, but there was a lot of guys that played a really good hockey game, and it's hard to win in the NHL, really hard, any given night versus any opponent. And I think we've just been able to do that because we've had guys that have been committed to playing for each other, and I think that's what's led to our team success. With team success comes individual success, vice versa, and we want to continue to to push that into the playoffs and see where this goes.
Well, it's been a fun season. Should be a fun playoff run. Thank you so much for your time as always, and congrats again.
Yeah, thank you.
So happy for Nic Dowd, and the new deal going to be here for 2 more years, and hopefully a Capital for life when it's all said and done. As far as the game tonight, NHL debut for Clay Stevenson in net, the guy they call Mud. It says it right on the mask. He's going to make his NHL debut coming out of Dartmouth, played for former Capitals assistant coach Reed Cashman there. He was signed as a college free agent. He's been 3 years pro T, and tonight with his dad in attendance, he will make his debut against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pretty cool moment here for Clay Stevenson in this one tonight.
Long awaited, maybe overdue. The Capitals like to overcook their prospects. I feel like he probably might have deserved to start a little sooner than this. It hasn't been a great year for him in Hershey. That said, he is still a very good goaltender. He passes the eyeball test, shall I say. Tall, gangly, athletic. And I love his story, man. He hasn't had an easy route here. He's had some family tragedy along the way and has had to overcome all of that. And he's constantly risen to the top, and he's finally getting his opportunity. And he's going to do it with in a game against one of the Capitals' biggest rivals. I love it. I hope he does well and shows everyone that he's capable of playing at this level, because we don't know what's going on with Logan Thompson right now. If he's not ready to even back up game 1, Clay Stevenson might be on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to really assume that possibility right now. Now, a little bit of update I can give you on that. So Logan skated yesterday here. Logan skated today here, and felt as if there's been just kind of a sense of a little bit of progress there. But just where we stand, T, on this Thursday when the playoffs are starting somewhere in the vicinity of the first of next week, there's just not a lot of days left. So you've got to assume, even if it's wrongly, that Clay might have to do is exactly as you say. He's going to be the backup to Charlie Lindgren for game one. And if that's the case, you certainly don't want him making his NHL debut somewhere along the lines of a playoff series. So get him a game. Do it in a building like this, a relatively hostile environment. Even if the Penguins aren't any good right now, there's still a lot of good players on the other side, and they're playing some pretty good hockey here down the stretch. So great opportunity for him. And then as far as the rest of the lineup is concerned, so Spencer Carberry gave us what we all know is about to happen because every coach does this. The media update that we got this morning was a typical Spencer Carberry, very good at diagramming what's going to be happening. The forwards, Alex Ovechkin's going to play tonight. The forward full contingent we expect to play tonight. There are a couple of things on D. Kind of getting the sense Farivari and Roy might get the night off. Alexeyev and McElrath probably going to be in the fold. But he was very quick to say that this is the last time that you're going to get any detail out of me whatsoever. So you're going to get a lot of, you'll see him when you see him kind of updates. And that certainly would be Alexei Protas and Logan Thompson.
I'll never forget the time that I grilled Bruce Boudreau on an injury, and I don't remember who it was, but it turned out to be a hand injury, and he was like, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. I didn't lie. It depends on how he's holding his hand at the moment when you ask the question. Yeah, when you get to the playoffs, you're not going to get a whole lot of straightforward answers out of the coaches or anyone else regarding injuries. It does feel like, from the forward standpoint, this is a bit of a dress rehearsal. These are probably going to be your lines going into the playoffs. So, if you're a Caps fan, write them down because that's probably what you're going to see when this team opens up at home against Montreal. What are we hearing here, John? Maybe Monday. Sounds like for game one. So, uh, as far as the D, Farivari did get a little dinged up last game. I'm sure this is just precautionary. Matt Roy has also played a lot of minutes because of guys coming in and out of the lineup the last few games. So this is probably just a little bit of a rest for him if he does not play. But, for me, John, I'm looking for another effort like they had on the island, which was one of their best in about 2 weeks. Top to bottom, goaltending was good. I know we got Clay in there and not Chucky, but I want to see what Clay can do. But more importantly, I just want to see this team play with hustle and intensity and that 5 to 10% that they lacked during that skid, just so that when they get to game one next week, they hit the ground running, and hopefully they can make short work of the Canadiens.
One would hope. And as this game goes tonight, you have Washington and Pittsburgh, fourth and final meeting of the season. And the last time we were here in February, it was a beatdown of major proportions as the Capitals got them 8-3.
Yeah.
But as you look at this game, Pittsburgh, they're not very good. They're not going to the playoffs. But Sidney Crosby, an unbelievable year. To be able, look at this graphic, by the way. Boy, we blew the budget on the graphic. Look at this.
Nice.
You've got the 20th career point per game season, a model of consistency like no other, Sidney Crosby. You have the most goals of all time. And Tarik, I am reminded, and I think we all are, if we pause and we look at this game coming in the last day of the season before the Caps go to the playoffs, the Penguins will not. But on this night, I don't think that matters, because I think what matters is that we don't have a lot of Ovechkin Crosby matchups left. We don't know when the last one's coming, but we know that if you and I are playing golf, we're on the 18. We're on 18 somewhere. This is coming to an end. And this has been for our sport. This has been Magic versus Bird. This has been 20 years of incredible matchups. There's 4 Stanley Cups between them. The Caps hope that they can add a 5th this year. Ovechkin, the brash young Russian kid coming in, Crosby, the poster child for all things Canadian hockey, head-to-head, very different people, but 2 of the very best to ever play our sport. And to enjoy these while we have them, I think is really important.
John, I think you said it there perfectly. And you and I, as you get older, you learn that you just can't take things for granted. You just don't know. I mean, if your answer to whether these guys are going to face each other next year is anything other than I don't know, I mean, probably. But we don't know. If you're a Caps fan, enjoy this. Enjoy this matchup because, like you said, we are walking down the 18th fairway right now. I mean, we are certainly coming towards the end of the Ovi Crosby rivalry. Ovi has another year in his contract. I would expect that he is going to come back next year. But again, you just never know. Fans enjoy this. Think of all the great memories over the last 20 years, but also just savor this game for what it is. Like you said, Penguins not going anywhere. Caps are getting dialed in. But when you watch this game tonight, every time 8 and 87 are on the ice, just think to yourself how special the last 2 decades have been. And, fingers crossed, and hopefully it's not the last, and we'll get to see 4 more matchups next year. But you never know.
Never know. And here tonight, we've got one. Ovechkin on one side and Crosby on the other. National game tonight on ESPN, but we've got Monumental pregame coverage starting at 6:30. So tune in for that with the crew until our first show of the postseason, Tark. We made it. Game 82. Here we are in the books. On to the playoffs. The Caps in Montreal coming up next week. Until then, thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Rink Report, brought to you by PenFed Credit Union. Great rates for everyone.